In this video, we're in episode 10 of Deluge Bootcamp series. We're going to be going over loops and kit samples and audio clips to contrast how they work. Then we'll set up live looping with audio clips and go from there. It is recommended to watch these videos until you fully understand how it works. Even 5 minutes a day practice can go a long way. So let's turn it on. We're going to press Shift and Kit to create a new kit preset. I made a directory in my SD card where I put drum loops. We're going to load one in. That one right there. I'm going to press down the select knob, and now it's loaded in. We can listen to it by pressing it. If I press Shift and press the lower left pad here, we're going to enter into sample mode. Right now it's set to cut. Cut mode will play the sample until the note cuts. So if I add a note, it's going to extend the note as long as the sample is. I can chop it down, so if I press play, so it only plays as long as that is set. Now if I press Shift, lower left pad, back into sample mode, let's turn it to once. Once mode will play the entire sample until it's either re-triggered or it ends, so it'll play the entire sample. So if I press stop here, it's still going to play until that sample ends. Shift, lower left pad, we're in sample mode, let's change to loop. Now loop mode will play the loop that we set as long as the note is extended. So we have to make a loop, so I'm going to press audition pad and the upper left pad here. And now we're in the waveform view. We can see the beginning of the loop and the end of the loop. We can move them by either turning the select knob or pressing where we want it to be. So that's the start. Let's go into the end. So let's bring it to the beginning and right here. Now we can see the waveform here. Let's change the start to go right where that starts. And then we can exit. And as we can see, it's going to play it as long as it's held down in the loop mode. Let's go back to waveform. And let's make this in the beginning and then make this, zoom out. Go to the very end. Now we have the whole sample playing. Let's go back into sample mode and turn to stretch. Stretch mode will automatically stretch the entire loop to the length of the note. If we add a note here and we turn, we can see it just extended my clip to 2 bars. That's because the length of this is 2 bars. And it sounds normal. If I hold down Shift and turn left right knob, we're going to go to 1 bar, and let's listen to what that sounds like. So it just sped up that loop twice so that it fit. So let's make it really short, even shorter, and then a little longer. We can hear it stretching at different speeds. Let's clear, push down the left right knob, press back to clear. Let's go to 3 bars, and then we're going to zoom out. I'm going to draw in the note. Now let's listen to it. Let's extend that 4 bars. Extend that. Listen to it now. Now we can still change the pitch. So let's bring that back to 2 bars so it just plays the regular drum loop. Now we're going to go into song view. We're going to add a new clip by holding any row above or below that kit clip. We're just going to press it, and then we're going to press the select knob. Now it'll say audio 1. This is an audio clip. We just created an audio clip. Audio clips are very similar, but are very different from sample kits. Now when we go in here, this is going to look like a waveform, but we don't have any file loaded in yet. You can load by holding Shift and then press the 3rd pad down here, or by going into the menu by pushing down on Settings knob, Sample, File. It's on the same waveform as what we just loaded in, so let's push down and it loaded it right in as a waveform. Now we can see that it loaded in, and we're going to go into Song View and mute out the kit just so we can hear this. And hold down, and we can see that's the audio clip. So if you don't know what things are, just hold them down. You can see right what they are. We change the tempo, auto, time stretch. It's really slow. You can change the pitch. so we can see that it is automatically time stretched, which makes it a lot quicker and easier way to get a time stretch loop in. We can edit the options from the menu, so I can go in here. Let's go to reverse. So we can do that. We can automate any parameters like cutoff or pitch. So let's change the pitch. Let's automate the cutoff. Let's turn it up a little. Let's go into the EQ, crank the bass. Now if I time stretch, if we change the tempo, the automations go along with it too. We can delete all that, hold down Shift, go to the gold knobs. Press the gold knobs and they will delete the automation. If we want to set the default tempo of the file, hold down tempo knob and press the clip. Now it's going to play the exact tempo that was intended for the loop. Audio Clip's waveform view is different than the sample kit. For example, there's a limitation here. We can trim the audio end, but not the start. So let's make a copy of the audio clip by holding the row and then pressing any empty row. We see it just changed the section color. I'm going to press Shift and change it back to blue. I want to differentiate these, so I'm going to go into here, hold down Shift, and change the color. So we can see this is the original waveform and this is the new one. And if I press mute, it can only play one or the other because I duplicated it. So we're going to go in here, we're going to press the last column here, and now we can see the end trim. Just press where you want it to end. So let's go just right here and then press play. So let's say I want it to do that and then switch back in. Maybe we'll make it even closer. So now we can easily and automatically switch between different variations. Let's actually go in here and go back until it's back to the full waveform. Let's say I want to chop off the beginning. I can't do that. I can only change the end. So what I'm going to do is go into reverse. Shift, reverse is 2 pads up from the bottom. Just turn it on. And now it's flipped. So this is the beginning. So if I want to chop out this part, it's now chopped off. Let's go back to reverse and turn it off. Now this is starting forward because I chopped off the last quarter. Let's say we want the end to go from here. So I'm just going to trim that off. Done. So that's the workaround. And if you mess up, just press back and then it'll restore it back to where it was. Another way to directly trim the waveform is by entering waveform view from the audio clip. We can press Shift in the upper left pad, or we can press the select knob and go to Sample, Waveform. This will not act the same as sample kits. This method only works when you're using one loop because it's going to modify the song tempo. So the start and end points we adjust are setting the frame that it will be time stretched from. So it's not going to trim it neatly since audio clips are auto time stretched. So let's say we want just this area to play. If we press back, we can see the waveform, but if we press play, it's going to be time stretched. So let's say I want this to be playing at the correct tempo. Hold down tempo and press the waveform, and now it's going to be playing at the proper tempo for that slice. This method only works when you're using one loop or the bass drum loop, for example, because it's going to modify the entire song tempo. So not only can you trim, you can also stretch the waveform from here. So if I hold down Shift and turn left right, it's going to stretch the waveform longer or shorter. We can clear this audio clip so that it's blank by pressing left and right knob and then back. If we want it back, just press back again and there it is. I want to record a synth that I have wired in to a mixer that goes straight into the external line in. So let's go over how to do this. This is called live audio clip recording. The Deluge doesn't know what we want it to record, so we first have to set the source of the audio that we want to record. So to change the source of the audio, hold down Learn and press anywhere on the row of the audio clip. We can record from the left, right, stereo, balanced, mix, or output. Mix just records pre-master effects. Output is the same as resampling or recording everything that we hear. So in this case, I want to hear the input as monitor. So I'm going to change it to stereo, but make sure there's a dot right here. If there's no dot, we're not going to hear the audio. If there is a dot, it's called monitoring. We're going to hear that monitoring signal or the audio that we have plugged in. Or if nothing's plugged in, it's going to record from the internal mic. Now I want to count in, so I'm going to press Shift and push down the settings knob and turn to record, count, and then turn it to on. Just back out by pressing any pad, and now that's saved. It's going to save that setting as default, so you only have to set it once. Live loop recording is pretty simple from here. As long as the clip is empty, so I empty that clip, and it's not muted, it's going to be armed to record. If there are no other clips playing, or if the metronome's off, it's going to create a loop with a tempo based on the length that we set. So this is if you wanted to make a brand new loop and base the tempo off of your performance instead of a programmed beat. So let's just show you an example. So I'm going to arm record, and I have the synth here. The metronome's off, and there's no other tracks. So let's press record, and let's play something in. Pressing mute, it just closed off the loop, and it just went as long as I played. We can see what that set to by pressing tempo. It made that tempo. So if I press back, we can undo all of that. The tempo goes back to what it was. So if I messed up or wanted to redo it, just press back. So we're going to set the tempo to the drum loop. Hold down tempo, press the drum loop. We create an audio clip by holding an empty row down and pressing the select knob. We have a new audio clip. Now it's set to 1 bar, so that means every time we end the loop, it's going to end at the next bar. If we changed it, hold down Shift and turn left and right, say to half bar, then the loop would close every half bar. So that sets the resolution of when that loop will end. So let's bring it in a little bit just to keep things interesting. Now it's clear. There's another track enabled. So if we record and play, it's going to record based off the tempo. So now it's going to be looping to that. Let's change that. Let's move it in here. You can do that to this drum loop too. I can go in here, change the cutoff. Now, let's say I want to overdub. So if I do an overdub, I hold down record and press the next row down that's blank on any of these pads. And then I'm going to play over it. The thing is, it's going to take the bar loop, it's going to take that loop as the resolution, and it's going to copy down all of the effect settings I have. So let's try that. Record and then pad down. We're going to go down here, turn it up a little. Let's reverse, shift, reverse, on. Take that. Let's trim it to here. Let's reverse it back. Now it trimmed the first part of it. Change the pitch. Maybe extend this drum loop. Change the pitch. So it was a little strange. Just keep pressing undo. And now It's all returning back to normal. You just erase these tracks down here. We have the drum beat. Let's start a new audio clip. So hold down blank, pressing select knob. Now, as this is playing, I can just jam and figure out some notes. Okay. Now what I can do is press record. Now record's enabled, so when I unmute this and this ends that loop, it's going to start recording. So I'm going to press it. Now I can change it, change the pitch, turn some reverb on, delay, cut off. I can duplicate it down, change it back to the section color, switch to it, and then change the pitch. So I can either play this one or go back to this one. Switch back. So let's bring the pitch back up on the drums. So let's mute that. And there's another overdub. This is called continuous overdub. It's going to record new clips one after the other until you press mute or record. One use for this is if you have notes that ring out, it can record that in. And we're going to create a new audio clip by pressing that knob. Now I'm going to make the length of that 1 bar. We're going to enable record. We're going to play something over the drums. So let's record with the drums and have a couple notes ring out. Now I press record and then the audition pad, and it's just going to keep looping. And it's recording everything that I put through. So if I just listen to just the first loop, it cuts off. You can hear it right there. So if we enable the second one, we can hear. Now it's ringing out. Now I can just delete these ones, and now we have a loop with ringing out notes. You can just listen just to the ringing out part right there. So this can also be used if you just want to record exactly 1 bar. So we're just going to play. We'll put on this. We want to set it to exactly 1 bar. Just record, pad beneath it, and there it is. So that part's recorded. I can stop it, delete the excess tracks, and we just have exactly 1 bar. So I can use these methods to just start messing around with sounds and seeing what happens. Messed up there. I'm just going to trim it down a little. Let's actually bring all these in. Let's reverse this one. Let's go in here, change the pitch. Reverb, cut off. I'm going to make this a little distorted. Let's reverse it. Go on to EQ, crank up the bass.